Go.
You're on the Johnny Angel podcast with a bunch of friends who like to talk about stuff.
All right, we'll just start going.
All right.
In 3, 2, 1. Kylie,
Hello.
how are you?
I am great, and how are you doing?
I'm awesome. Thank you so much for doing this. I'm
course.
super excited to talk to you because you just got done interning at a profession that when I was a kid, I always wanted to do this. I thought this was the job.
Yes.
That, and I had this dream I wanted to be an archaeologist, but that was only because of Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and then I
Jurassic Park kind of thing.
Yeah, well, no, I found out that, a real archaeologist uses a toothbrush and not a bullwhip.
Yes.
You know, so I thought, okay, well, if I can't punch
It's not
a Nazi,
nearly as exciting.
right, if I can't punch a Nazi, why am I
Yeah.
doing this, right? Anyway, your career.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give a slight background to your degree, things like that?
Yes. So I have a bachelor's degree in animal sciences from University of Illinois down in Champaign.
Okay.
So I guess you could call me an animal scientist if you really
An
wanted
animal
to.
scientist. How would you, what's an animal scientist compared to like an animal doctor or an animal?
So an animal doctor, like a vet, has to go to vet school, and that's an extra 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
And that's a lot.
Yeah,
It's
that's-
very expensive, very, very expensive,
Really?
and very, very hard to get into. No offense to all the doctors out there, but it's proven to be harder than medical school, getting into medical school. And so I am going to be honest, as a freshman in college, I decided I was not up for the challenge.
Hey, that's not for everybody. you
Yeah,
know?
I went into college thinking I'm going to be a veterinarian. I'm going to save all the animals. It's going to be great. And then I realized that's what everyone wants to do. And I did not want to deal with the competition or anything like that. And I was like,
I agree with you. I tend to think every kid at some point in their life wants to be some sort of either a zookeeper.
yeah, an animal thing.
yeah, dealing with animals somehow. So I'm guessing when you walked into that university, you were like, whoa.
They
everybody
actually,
wants to do
yes,
this.
they had us on the very first day of college. Everyone in my major, the freshman class, sit there and they said, raise your hand if you want to be a veterinarian. And every single student raised their hand. So I was like, I'm out. Like, I can't deal with this.
Wow.
So that's when I started to kind of think, like, maybe I should look into something else. I knew I still wanted to work with animals,
Right.
but I was like, okay, what else do I love? And I realized I love dolphins and the ocean. And so that's when I started to kind of focus a little more on exotic animals, like zoo animals or aquarium animals.
Which is a great transition. It brings us right into what I want to talk to you about.
Yes.
You were an intern at the intern.
Yeah.
Sorry, I said intern. Sorry. This is even before we drink, by the way.
I know.
So, by the way, cheers real
Cheers.
quick. I always do this. Okay. You were an intern for the Shedd Aquarium.
Yes.
Which I think my wife and I visit that yearly. We love that place.
It's the place to go.
I'll be 100% honest. If I lived in Chicago, I'd probably have, would they have season passes or yearly
Yeah, they have
passes
like
or-
memberships.
memberships. I would totally
Yeah.
get a membership.
Oh, yeah.
And I think with my little girl, when she starts realizing,
she's
right now
gonna love
she
it.
loves the bubbles in
Yes.
water. She had no idea there's fish. We
She's
take
like,
her
oh,
to-
wait, there's something floating.
No, she hasn't done that yet. We take her to a doctor's office. And you know what? They always
Yeah.
have a fish tank. She runs right up to it and looks at the bubbles. And we're like, there's look at these little things. Look at these amazing things. And she's
She's like, no, there's a bubble.
yeah, she's like, there's bubbles up there. You know, that's all she's.
She'll get there.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. Okay, so at the Shedd Aquarium.
Yes.
And the closest I ever got to the Shedd Aquarium or behind the scenes was my wife for my birthday. I think it was my 40th birthday. Bought me a trainer for the day.
Yes.
So I walked in there.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome.
It's so cool for just the public to learn.
The best part I saw, and the main reason why I wanted to talk to you today, was because we walked into the penguin. What do you call that place?
Just the habitat.
The penguin habitat.
Yeah.
And they like instantly knew who this girl was.
Yes.
They had one who beat up a couple other ones to jump in her lap.
Yes.
And literally cuddled into her chest area and went ah.
Yes.
It was almost like that penguin was like, oh my god, I'm so happy to see you. I've got all this stuff to tell you. Give me some fish, right?
Yes, they are like that. They're crazy.
And I thought, this is so cool. People that get to sit here every day, and they get to in my head, they get to play with the animals.
Yeah.
Right? And
Yeah.
like you said, exotic animals. Like
Yes.
dogs are awesome. Cats, But that's just my personal thing. But you get to, again, this is wrong, but it's a lot more technical, but in my imagination, in my head, you're playing with animals every day.
I mean, it's true. Yeah. Zookeepers or trainers, they get to play with the animals all day. There definitely is more to it, but they do get to sit there sometimes and have play sessions and literally just enjoy their time with the animal and just kind of like bring the animal up and get them excited for something and play with them, play with some toys, other things like you're saying your daughter loves bubbles. Some of the animals love bubbles.
Oh, you mean like the...
Yeah.
Really? Like,
yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I remember one of the pelicans I worked with down in Florida for a different internship didn't at the time love bubbles. Now he's okay with bubbles. He was terrified of them at first.
You said now he's okay. So do you still keep in contact with some animals from other...
I kind of will just see on like social media. They like to post things and
What did you intern in Florida?
That was at Clearwater Marine Aquarium.
Okay.
And do you know the movie Dolphin Tale? It's a Disney movie.
I do.
That's the aquarium. So with Winter.
Oh,
the
no
dolphin.
shit.
Yeah. With
that dolphin's there without
without the tail.
with the mechanical flipper?
Yes. Yes.
That's really cool. Did you get to meet him
Yeah,
or her?
yeah.
What's him or her? Winter.
Yes, and she is. I think she knows she's famous, but
So she has a little ego.
Yeah, she. I mean,
I don't
she is
eat
a
those
dolphin,
fish.
but
I eat other fish.
she will like it. I feel like she performs for the crowd. She will like look extra cute when there's more people there.
Well, that's
and
good. That's
it's
good to
really
hear.
it's good because then it just brings more people there and more people to see her. But she is so funny, and so I worked down there. That was a summer internship. It was 3 years ago, 2016.
Okay.
And so
How
that
was
was
an internship?
it depends on where you're at. So that internship in Florida was 3 months because I was still in school. So it was just in the summer.
Like a summertime?
Yes. And then Shedd, I had graduated already. So that was 6 months. So that was
6
May
months.
to October.
Oh my gosh, how cool.
Yeah.
How cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to get into the shed.
Yes.
I'm going to go through each animal. I've written them down so I do not forget them.
Okay.
Okay? Dolphins.
Yes.
This is your favorite.
Probably,
I honestly think, I'm going to go a little weird on you here for
Okay.
a second. I honestly think that aliens are probably talking to them more than they're talking to us. That's what I think. I
could see it.
I think I didn't know this. I was doing some research for this podcast, and I didn't know that an orca is considered in the dolphin family.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
And they're vastly intelligent creatures.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I think to the
Yes.
point where we don't even understand their sounds. We don't understand their how they communicate with each other, but they clearly communicate with each other.
We're like just starting to like kind of understand how they communicate with each other.
Yeah.
And there's just so much more to learn about it that it's crazy that there's just like this whole other, I don't want to say language because we don't even know for sure if they have a language, but I know that I read one study that was saying that they have names for each other, and
Really?
yeah, and
So like they know each other by name in a
yes.
sense.
This is just a study where they were like kind of trying to figure this out, but I thought that was just insane.
That's
These
incredible.
yes, these extremely intelligent animals are like us. They call each other by different names. It's just not in English. It's in little noises.
I also read that that orcas have a very high emotional intelligence,
Yeah.
and like they really care about each other.
Yes.
Did you find the same thing with dolphins? Do they really care about each other?
Definitely. And so they
Well, I would think if you call them by name, you create. Isn't that the first rule? Like if you get a pet from the road, like if you find a turtle at the road, you're not supposed to name it.
yes,
now you
because then
attach
you're gonna
yourself.
bond to it.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, they definitely, I mean, dolphins are social creatures, and so they thrive off of being with each other, and they form pods in the wild. And
What's a pod? Like a group?
a group.
Okay.
And so they will just connect with each other, and that's their little family. And it doesn't have to be biological. It can be a group of not blood-related animals.
Yeah.
But they form these groups and protect each other throughout their lives.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
it kind of when I hear how intelligent and you see videos and you see, you read articles and stuff, it crushes me that they get caught up in like those fishing nets.
Oh, yes.
And it's like it's horrible. I mean, you and I could probably go into the entire that we are completely out fishing like the oceans.
Yes.
Like we are devastating.
Definitely.
That. We're devastating that.
Yes.
And that breaks my heart. Like I'm curious is like maybe. Because from what I'm reading about, what I'm reading about in the studies is like people that will go to, I don't know, a specific part of the ocean. When they go back there in 5 years, it's less.
Yes.
Like less wildlife. Less. Do you call it wildlife? Or do you call it oceanic life?
I would say
What's
wildlife,
the term?
probably.
Wildlife, yeah.
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 I mean, it's definitely true that we are overfishing and we're causing all these problems to the different ecosystems, but there's definitely ways that you can help it. There's a thing called Seafood Watch. It's online. You Google it, and it's gives you ways that you can find sustainable resources for fish.
Seafood Watch. Is it? All right. Sorry, we had technical difficulties. We're back on.
You're fine.
I'm still trying to figure this out. Okay, so you said Seafood Watch?
Yes.
Right? Seafood Watch. Seafood Watch. Is that it?
Yep.
The app or the guide?
Either.
Let's go guide, see what happens. What do we got? We got seafood. Choose
So, yep, it's right there through Monterey
seafoods.
Bay Aquarium.
Okay.
And,
so, hang on. Let me read this. What is that? Monterey Bay Aquarium Seafood Watch program helps consumers and business choose seafoods that fished or farmed in ways that support a healthy ocean now for future generations. Our recommendations indicate which seafood items are best choices or good alternatives and which ones you should avoid. That's awesome. I didn't even know this existed.
Yeah, so it's a really kind of trustworthy source that you can download the app, and then when you're shopping for seafood for just your dinner, okay, this is probably a better fish to get that's not going to really harm the ecosystem as much,
really cool.
Or this is one that really we should avoid.
Yeah, that's great. I didn't know about that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Okay, so back to the shed.
Yes.
All right, so Dolphins. Tell me, how much time did you spend with the Dolphins as an intern?
Well, you work. It's a normal, full-time job.
Okay.
And then...
What does that job entail? I'm sure the beginning is cutting up sardines or fish or whatever.
Yeah, every morning you get there and you spend hours sorting the fish.
Sorting the fish.
Yes, so you go through and you have to look at every single fish, and make sure there's not even a single cut or bruise or anything on them.
Hold on. What kind of fish are you dealing with?
So the main fish source that they use are capelin. It's kind of a maybe 3-inch long fish, 3 or 4 inches long.
Okay.
And nothing special to it. It's not
capelin.
Yeah.
Capelin. I know. Is that how you spell it?
No, it's CAPELIN.
I'm sorry. ELIN. Capelin fish. And I missed it, didn't I?
That's it.
Okay. I'm sorry, guys. I can't show this to the YouTube crowd. We can get in trouble for some of this stuff. But this is it's a real gray fish. So I guess okay. Where the hell can you find a bruise on that thing?
Oh, I mean, they come to the aquariums frozen in big blocks.
Okay.
And so...
What do you mean in big blocks?
Literally giant blocks of fish frozen together.
No shit.
In a big box.
What do you have to wait for it to thaw, right?
Yeah, so there's a whole thawing process.
Kidding.
The different processes that go through just different parts of the day at different aquariums it's insane. And so the thawing process, you have the giant freezer, and 24 hours beforehand you thaw the fish in the fridge, and then that morning you take them out, and then you do that every day, the whole process, freezer to fridge to outside, freezer to fridge
my
outside.
gosh.
And so
what time do you get up? What time do you get there?
You have to get there usually around 6:30.
That's not. When
it's
do they
not
open?
horrible. I think they open at 9.
Okay.
It's not horrible. I have seen other aquariums where it's worse. In Florida, I had to be there at 5:30.
I would think you'd have to be there around like 4:30, 5:30 to do this whole process.
Yeah, I think at SeaWorld they have, like, you have to be there 3 or 4 in the morning because of all the animals that they have. And the big animals. So it takes a long time to sort all of the animals' food. But yeah, you go through and you sort through, make sure nothing is ugly or anything. It literally has to be the most pristine looking fish you've ever seen.
Like they would actually catch it in the wild.
Yes, and it's honestly restaurant quality fish. Nothing is.
That's good.
Yeah, and so I think they eat better than us. I mean, I'm probably gonna go home and have some Kraft mac and cheese while they're having this restaurant quality fish.
Don't clog yourself up.
I love mac and cheese.
Who doesn't, right? Okay, so how much food does one dolphin eat a day?
They can eat about 25 pounds of fish.
25 pounds per day.
Per day.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, they're swimming constantly.
Yeah.
So, so they're burning a ton of calories. So
Yes.
I guess I can see that. I mean,
Yeah.
I it's funny, you sit there and you think about you eating 25 pounds. Maybe you could pull that off if you swam the entire day.
If you're like some Olympic athlete, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. So,
But
wow.
yeah, it's
so
a
tell
lot.
me, did you get to bond with any of them?
You as an intern, it's definitely not as hands-on as if you were an actual paid trainer. But there are opportunities to bond with them, and you just kind of build these relationships with them. Like, I had one of the dolphins, her name is Cree, it's Kri, and she is the oldest dolphin at the shed, and she's, I think, right now around 34.
Go ahead, keep talking. Sorry, I just want to see her.
She's so cute. She probably will be on their, like, pictures or something. I can point her out to you. Go to Meet the Dolphins.
Okay. Guys, I'm really sorry. I'm for people that are YouTubing this and they can't see him.
You can scroll down.
Would you know her by that face? That's right. Female Cree is the oldest. She's also one of the largest animals at 6'5" and 205 pounds. She's in shape.
Yes. It has the way you can kind of tell the difference with Cree specifically is she has above her eyes, she has like little white dots that look kind of like eyebrows. So this picture you can't really see.
Are you talking about maybe right there?
Kind of, yeah. It's like very faint in that picture because it's head on, but from the side you can see her immediately and you can tell it's her.
Very cool.
So
I'll get out of this so that we can just talk.
She was probably my favorite dolphin just because I had to do a whole project on her. Every intern has a project and they're assigned an animal. So I was assigned Cree, and it was mostly just to study her behavior and make sure she's acting normally. Is there anything abnormal? And like take notes and just really do tons of observations.
Yeah.
And so I would sit there almost every day for like 30, 45, maybe even an hour, and just watch her.
And you take notes.
Yep.
Like,
just, what is she doing at this time? What is she doing at this time?
So what are some behaviors that are, I guess, that the common person wouldn't see in a dolphin? What would that be? Like, hey, she turned left instead of right. Is that
it would be
detailed?
like, who is she associating with? So who is she playing with? Is she hanging out with a dolphin that she never really hangs out with? Is she with her common friends? Is she
kind of like a diary, right?
Yeah, honestly. Is she in an area of the pool that she doesn't normally go to? Is she swimming less or more than normal? Things like that.
That sounds like really intensive.
Yeah, definitely.
You can form a bond over that?
I think it's definitely more of a one-sided bond.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't necessarily know that we're looking at her. Sometimes she notices.
I think she might.
Sometimes she notices. Other times, not so much. She's just kind of in her own little world doing her dolphin thing.
Cool.
But from a people perspective, we're sitting there and spending all this time watching them and just caring about every single movement that they become like your child. And you're just like, you care about them so much.
I'm sure.
So, you definitely build a bond with them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So, do they get mad at each other? Like, they won't talk to each other and shit?
They can definitely get mad at each other.
You had more fish, you fucker. Like,
they can, yeah. They can, if they see Okay, so like one example is when you're doing a training session with all the dolphins or all the whales or whatever animal group. You want to make sure you end the sessions all at the same time so that if one dolphin ends his session over here and isn't getting any more fish, he's not going to swim over to the other dolphin who's still getting fish and go steal his fish. And so you want to end it all at the same time.
That makes sense, yeah.
Just so that you don't get any disagreements like that. Like, hey, why are you still getting
so
fish?
There's jealousy.
And yeah, definitely a little bit. And so it's definitely like they can get mad at each other just like people do. Or like, hey, you're really bugging me. I'm going to snap at you.
So they snap. They don't bottlenose each other? Or?
Not really, no. Okay. It's more of just kind of like a dog. Like, they'll kind of snap at each other.
Get the fuck away from me.
Yeah. Okay. And so, like, if one of them is really bothering them, like, there's, right now, there's 2 young males at the shed, Sagu and Makoa, and they're definitely a little more hyper than Cree is because she's old. And so if they're kind of bugging her, she's going to get away from me.
So Cree's become, get off my lawn.
Yeah.
I see.
A little bit.
You kids, knock it off.
Definitely. Yeah. I had a lot of moments in my observations where she was getting a little fed up with them.
That's cool. So when I was at the shed, we did the trainer for the day, and I had to go out onto almost like this table. You have to walk out onto the pool, and they gave me this brush.
Yes.
And they said, okay, we need you to scrub here. But listen to me.
They put
when
you to
scrub,
work.
yeah. They said when you scrub, be careful of the edge. Number 1. Number 2, be careful of the dolphins because they'll sneak up and grab the.
Probably Sagu.
Okay, they'll
young
sneak
male,
up. So when they come near it, you got to pull that away. I said, okay, all right. So the way they explained it to me is that, and we're going to transition into the next animal, but they said dolphins are a lot like cats.
Yeah, if you were to just do a big cannonball in the water, they're going to swim away from you. They're not going to go up to you and be like, ooh, what's going on over here?
Even if you're a trainer?
Probably, yeah.
Oh, yeah?
They, the loud noise
what
would
the
scare
fuck
them.
is this guy on?
They'd be like, something's going to attack me or something like that.
Yeah, okay.
And so, because, I mean, they are prey animals. They can be hunted by other types of animals, sharks and whatnot. And so any kind of startling sudden noise, they're gonna be like, I'm out of here. Yeah. So I could see where they'd be like cats. Yeah.
What one thing I saw, because I tend to watch it every night, is something on the Animal Planet.
Yes.
And they had dolphins, and they had their hunting patterns.
Yeah.
When they're dealing with, I don't know what kind of fish it was, but it was the fishes that were all clumped together to make themselves look bigger.
Yeah.
Right? And how they would jump up and smack down to separate it.
Yeah.
And they separate like a bushel.
Yes.
And that's how they get their food. It's really incredible watching.
They have these insane hunting patterns that like there's one where if they're in like shallow water, then they will take their tail flukes and smash slap
What's
the water.
What's a tail fluke?
Just their tails.
Just a tail, okay.
Yeah. And
why'd you call it fluke?
That's what it's called.
Oh, is that okay?
Yeah.
Right.
And so they'll literally smash the water to get mud or dirt or sand up into the water so that the fish can't see anymore, and then they go and attack the fish.
Really?
Yes. And they'll do like little circles, they're like little mud circles, and trap the fish in there.
That's incredible.
And then they hunt them.
That's incredible.
Like I don't even think people have that like intelligence to do something like that.
Absolutely.
And so I find that astounding. They have like just these insane patterns that we have no idea about sometimes. Yeah.
All right. So I guess I would say if I was listening to this podcast, I would say, okay, what animals that like dogs? And that's where we're going to transition to.
Yes.
The beluga whales.
Yes.
All right. I love these things.
Yes, they are like little puppy dogs.
Yeah. When I did trainer for a day, we walked in there with the waiters, and they had that big thing on their head, that like
melon.
The melon, okay.
Yes.
And he moved that, and it was like going.
Yes.
And then he spit on me.
Yep.
And but it was playful. It wasn't harmful.
Yes.
But it was very playful. What was your experience with the beluga whales?
Well, the first time I ever got to be face to face with a beluga whale, I actually cried.
Why?
Just joy and just proud of myself, I guess. Like, I made it here, and oh my gosh, there's this giant beluga whale right in front of me, and this is the happiest moment of my entire life. And so my boss actually was like, "Are you okay, Kylie?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, they're just perfect. Like, they're just amazing animals. I never thought I'd get here where I could be this close to a beluga."
Okay, so you got choked up in the moment.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, that's cool.
You
That's
do
really
get
cool.
used to it. I didn't cry every single time, but you do get used to it, and they are just hilarious. They like.
Do they know it?
I think so.
Yeah.
You can't look at them without smiling. They are
no,
just
for sure. That's for sure.
Even if they're not even doing anything, I think just because they're funny looking, sometimes you just smile. And but they will like see you and start doing funny noises or like bobbing in the water up and down, and you're trying to like just watch them to do observations like for those studies and stuff, and they're just making you laugh the whole time.
Are they a lot like in terms of dolphins? Are they very family oriented?
Yes.
Like,
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
So here's the one thing that I'm thinking about, and I guess this would go for every animal. At the end of the day, you guys are trainers. You're not owners. No. Right? You're not their parents. And you're not able to make the decisions that you would like to, I'm assuming. So what if you I'm trying to word this the right way. Like when a bigwig or a CEO says, "Hey, you know what? We're gonna take this beluga whale and transfer him to Atlanta."
Yeah.
You know what are those days like? Like
that would
they
be
miss
awful.
each other, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would just be awful, and it's really. Like I said earlier, they become like your children, and then one day you just don't get to hang out with them anymore, and you don't get to work on them, and like you build these daily patterns kind of, and then your whole pattern is changed. And so
Are they creatures of habit?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Are they, or have we trained them to be creatures of habit? Good question, right?
I don't know, honestly. I don't have an answer. Yeah. But they will be working with you for so long, and you have this bond, and you have goals for them and goals for your relationship, and then they go somewhere else. And it's always for the best, so you have to kind of look at it from that perspective, like they're going somewhere.
So it's done for good reasons, not for greed.
No, definitely not.
Well, that's good to know.
Everyone in this industry is very understanding in the fact that we're doing this for the animals' benefit. We're doing this to care for the animals. What is best for them? We're never going to do this because, whatever aquarium wants to get more money, so they need this kind of animal. We're going to do it like this is the best environment for this animal, so we're going to send that animal there. Yeah. And it's a mutual understanding within the industry.
Have you seen that video about the beluga whale that returns that cell phone to the lady?
Yes, I actually just was watching that today. Yeah. But that's actually very funny. They so at aquariums, people obviously drop things.
So that was in an aquarium.
It definitely was in an aquarium.
Okay, I was going to ask you about it because I didn't know. Like, I don't see a wild animal doing that. But
no, it was definitely in an aquarium, and it was definitely a behavior that the trainer asked the beluga to do.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh. So they'll have behaviors where they have to go retrieve something. And
so it was a game to him.
It was a game. And it was just kind of like because he was asked to do it by his trainer or his friend.
I don't know what video I caught that on, but that's bullshit then because they said it was happening in the ocean.
They make it seem like this
I was
wild
on a boat.
Yeah.
I dropped my phone and all of a sudden this beluga whale came out of nowhere to give me the phone back.
I guess theoretically it's possible, but I would never expect that to be a thing ever.
I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But it's still kind of cool. No, it's still kind of cool that they...
it would happen all the time where people throw things into the water with the animals.
No shit? Like they just throw things in there?
I mean, kids especially will throw things, and people will hold their phones over the thing and drop it. And so then you have to have the animal retrieve it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That happens a lot?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
People are weird. They don't pay attention.
God. So, who's your favorite beluga whale?
My favorite beluga whale was Grayson.
Grayson.
Yes.
All right.
Grayson.
AY. Grayson, the whale at Shedd. That should pop up. How's he look? Meet the belugas. Again, folks, I'm very sorry, but we just can't show this. I don't want to. Is that you?
No, that is not me. But that'd be funny.
Is that Grayson?
That's Auric.
Auric.
He's the biggest. That's Beethoven.
Beethoven.
That's Naya.
Oh my God, is she adorable?
She's so cute.
She really is.
Now that I think about it, I feel like Grayson actually might have been transferred.
Oh man, break your heart.
That's Mayak. She's actually currently pregnant, gonna give birth like any second now.
Really?
Yes.
Congratulations. How you say her name?
Mayak.
Mayak. Congratulations, Mayak. And
Kayavak.
Where do they get these names from?
They're a lot of times like Inuit names.
Why isn't it Steve?
They
what do you mean Inuit names?
Inuit, so it's like the language and culture of where these belugas are from.
Oh, okay. Where are they originally from? Iceland? Or
way up north, like
Norway or
Canada up north. And so there are aquariums that will name their animals like Steve or whatever. So but Shedd likes to kind of keep their animals nice and like natural, I guess.
Yeah, that's cool.
And make sure that they are still following their roots a little bit, if you will.
Okay, so why is Grayson your favorite?
Grayson, he was the smallest male out of all of them. And so the big males would kind of like be like, well, you're not a part of this. This is the big boys club. Yeah. And so he was a little excluded. But he...
So you started feeling sorry for him.
Yes. He was like the runt of the group, kind of. Right. And so, but he was just so sweet and literally couldn't do wrong at all. Like, he was perfect. And you would just see him and like... He would try and play with them or something, and they'd be like, no, we're going to play over here without Grayson. And so then he'd just go over to the trainers and be like, will you play with me? And then,
so what kind of games they play? Besides getting stuff at the bottom.
They can, with each other, they'll just do like chasing each other sometimes. Or
No. What kind of games do you play
with trainers?
Yeah.
Well, one of the main things, I don't know if I'd call it a game, but one thing that they love is it's called tongue tickles. And and so it's literally they open their mouth and you reach in and scratch their tongue.
And there's no fear that they're going to chomp down?
I mean, I guess it is a possibility.
Yeah.
I don't have that fear. Trainers don't have that fear. They really don't have very sharp teeth. They're kind of dull. And so even if they were to kind of bite down, like, they're kind of strong. But
so like when a puppy bites you, when he's gnawing on you, you're like, oh.
You're like, that might hurt a little bit.
How much is like the biggest one?
They can be up to like 3,000 pounds.
So, I mean, okay.
That's a lot.
Well, I mean, I don't know if beluga whales share the same emotional intelligence as dolphins or...
yes, they do.
They do. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they can get pissed.
Yeah, definitely.
Right?
Definitely.
So, but what are the signs? Like, if you're training them and you realize, okay, he's had enough today.
They're going to just swim away from you. They're going to be like, I'm done with this, and I'm not having any more of this. Yeah. And obviously you can't just jump in and, like, pull them back and force them to train with you. So you're just like, okay, we'll try again later. Yeah. But, if they're in a bad mood, you just kind of like, well, okay, just try again at some other time today, and hopefully they're in a better mood. They could be in a bad mood from other animals around them. Maybe they were frustrated learning a new behavior or something, that kind of thing. So it can be a variety of reasons, but they'll usually just kind of swim away. Yeah.
Cool. So beluga whales, I dug them. I thought they were cool.
They're awesome.
The next place that we went into when I was doing the training for a day was we went into the sea lion area. Is this not where you kind of specialized while you're...
I wouldn't say I specialized in it, but it was probably my favorite section.
Okay. Why?
These animals, the sea lions, have such personality, and not saying the other animals don't.
Right.
But I feel like you can just look at the sea lions and they're reading your mind, you're reading their mind. I know it's not a real thing, but...
I know what you mean, though.
You just feel that, and... they're so smart and so intelligent, and frankly, they're really funny. They literally just wobble around all day.
Yeah.
Like they're funny looking. And so like the belugas, you can't help but smile when you look at them.
Right.
And so it just like is an instant mood booster when you would go work with the sea lions.
So you felt like you had a special connection with the sea lions more than any other animal? Would that be
I
fair
think
to say?
so. Yeah, I really loved working with them.
When we went there, they took us in the back, and there was one that was blind.
Yes.
Cruz,
Yes,
right.
that's Cruz.
Tell me Cruz's story, because it's actually horrible, but it's kind of has a good ending.
Yeah, it's an awful beginning, good ending.
Yeah.
But he was found when he was young with bullet wounds in his head. He had been shot multiple times by someone. No one knows who.
Where'd they find him?
Honestly, I don't know for sure.
I mean, like, did they find him on the shore?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He was on land.
Yeah.
And so they found him and they took him to a rehab center and tried their best to rehabilitate him. But after seeing how he was acting and going through like different doctor checkups and that kind of thing, they realized that he was blind. And so that means he's immediately not a candidate for release. He cannot be released. He's just going to die.
Of course not.
And so that's actually a decision made by the government. And so whenever an animal is rescued, the government comes in and they're like, okay, what's the situation? What are the pros and cons of releasing this animal? What are the pros and cons of keeping this animal? What's best for this animal? So with Cruz, it was decided that he would be kept under human care for the rest of his life. Yeah. And so once he was rehabbed and not in pain or anything anymore, he was transferred to Shedd, and they have a whole specialized training process with him. And he's frankly thriving. I mean, he does a great job.
So how do you train a seal that can't see?
So with the regular sea lions, they do, it's called a target pull, and it has a little buoy at the end, and they are taught to follow it, just wherever it goes. So you can kind of teach, like, oh, you want to teach them to spin, you just have them follow the buoy in a circle. But obviously Cruz can't see that, so his target pull has beads in it so that you shake it. And yes, he can hear it.
Do sea lions have really good hearing?
Underwater especially. Yeah, they maybe not a ton on land because they're not really land
I'm
animals.
sure his senses heightened.
Probably,
after he
yeah.
lost his
But
sight.
they definitely have great hearing underwater. They can hear for miles.
You know what? I'm curious. What is the point of training?
It's really I would say enrichment and education. So
for us.
both.
Okay.
So I would say enrichment for the animals, education for us.
Explain enrichment.
Okay, so enrichment is making their lives better or more enjoyable somehow. So you can do that with play. You can do that with training.
You're talking about as while they're there. So, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So like what can we do as trainers to keep them mentally stimulated, keep them physically healthy, things like that. And so that can be like playing with toys or whatever,
Right.
Or doing a training session, doing high energy behaviors, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And so that's one thing with the animals. And then the education aspect is really for the people. You want to make sure that these animals are nice and well trained within human care so that people can come in and learn about these animals and learn that, yes, we do need to protect them and we need to actually actively work in the wild and take what we know from the animals in captivity and transfer it to the wild animals.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. I remember we were talking before the podcast and you said you had a really cool moment when you were leaving, like your favorite moment at the shed with a sea lion.
Yeah.
What was it?
So this was Ty.
Yeah.
And he is the second biggest. And it was my very last day. And on our last day of internships, they let you kind of go around and just take whatever pictures you want with the animals so that you can have memories pretty much.
Right.
And
Keep
so,
talking. I am listening. I'm just going to pull up Ty.
You're fine.
So
it's just TY.
TY.
And so we were out on the exhibit in the habitat and we were about to just take a picture where It is my profile picture.
That's what I thought when I was doing that. So I want to see it. That's him, right?
Yes, that is Ty.
Right. For those of you that want to see what Ty looks like, this will probably be the picture that I will be doing for the promo of this podcast.
Yes.
That's Ty?
Yes, that's Ty.
How much does he weigh? How much does he weigh?
I want to say maybe around 300 or 400 pounds.
Now,
I don't know for sure.
did this, and you didn't expect it, right?
Correct.
This just happened.
So we were supposed to just take a picture of me with my arm around him, and he was supposed to be looking at the camera too. And I like kind of crouched down to get, he's a little short, and I got crouched down, and I put my arm around him, and he just turned over and kissed me. And I was so caught off guard. I just like, it was amazing.
It shows right there.
Yes,
right there.
I was so.
It shows.
Like, I had the biggest smile on my face, and then it's funny to look at like this picture compared to the ones where he was actually supposed to kiss me, because they're not nearly as exciting. Like my face is just like a normal smile.
You called it a genuine moment.
It was a genuine moment.
That's awesome.
That's something I will remember for the rest of my life.
That's super cool. Yeah, I had to talk about.
And
that.
frankly, that's going to be my profile picture for the rest of my life.
Well, you never know. You could get kissed by something
That's
else.
true. That's true.
Know.
Until I get another picture of me kissing some other crazy animal, that's going to stay my profile picture.
That was definitely cool. That was definitely cool. Here's something that I wasn't aware of was at the shed when they took us in the back room.
Yeah.
And you and I were talked about this before the podcast as well. The birds of prey. Mm-hmm. Like,
yes.
They have hawks.
Yes, hawks and owls.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The hawks, I guess the best word, they were magnificent.
Yes,
they're
really amazing, gorgeous animals.
And it looks like they look right through you.
Yeah.
Like they're looking at your soul.
Yes.
Like
if you look at them too long, you might just burst into flames.
Yeah. What? Like, it's funny. Ever since I read that article that scientists believe that dinosaurs, birds evolved from dinosaurs.
Yes.
You can see it.
Yeah,
You're
definitely.
Like,
they look prehistoric,
shit.
honestly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and the way they look at you, it's very, like, my first thought was, he's sitting there looking at me, and he's thinking to himself, if I was your size, you'd be dead.
Yes.
I'd carry you away, and I'd rip you apart and eat you.
Probably.
Yeah. Now, the next cool animal was the owl.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Those guys are freaky, but they're cool. They're like a train wreck. You can't stop staring at them.
I know.
But you almost think it's rude.
Yes.
Like you just
because they'll stare right back at you.
And it's like the ultimate. Remember when you were a kid, you used to play that whoever blinks first loses.
Yes.
You'd lose.
You will lose every time to a bird of prey.
And they'll freak you out too.
Yes.
But they're magnificent creatures.
Really they are. Cool. They're gorgeous animals. They all of the birds of prey at Shedd are rescues, and so like one of them I think was hit by a car. One of them's missing an eye. So just different situations. So their training is kind of a little different than with the marine animals.
Did you do that training?
Somewhat, yeah. Somewhat. I would get to go on different training sessions with them.
Where do you train them?
Different places. It depends on where in their training plan they are. So if it's a newer bird, you're gonna stay within the like back room, the like enclosed area. But when I was at Shedd, they were also working with some of the birds on trying to get them to fly across the oceanarium, the big pools. And so you would go out there, and there's no people around at the time, but just working on having the birds fly from one end to the other, and making sure they're comfortable with it, and if they were previously injured, are they still able to fly? So just making sure they're nice and healthy and acting like normal birds. Yeah.
Wow. So two more questions in terms of your Shedd experience.
Yes.
The sea otters.
Okay.
These are my favorite.
Yes.
I didn't realize how vicious of an animal they can actually be, because to me they look just so damn cool.
I know. They're just so cute and fuzzy.
We walked into the back and we were allowed to feed them. Mm-hmm. And I did something I shouldn't. Mm-hmm. So
broke the rules.
Yeah, I broke the rules. But there's like this little pipe that comes down like that, like a PVC pipe. Yeah. It's a big pipe about that big. Mm-hmm. And you get to drop food, and he, at the bottom, if it doesn't fall out into their little pool, it stays there. They'll put their hand in there. And sometimes they're impatient. They just put their hand out.
Like, come on,
hand
it to
drop
me.
Drop it here. So when they did that, I was like,
Yeah.
And I touched the paw, and it was so cool. It was so fucking cool.
I know.
Yeah, and I was like, I said, because Ursula was with me, I said,
Yeah.
honey, I fucking
I
touched
touched the otter.
I touched the otter. Because that's all I wanted to do. I wanted to play. I thought we were going to be able to hand feed the otters.
I wish
and
that was a
we kind of
thing.
did, but I understand that they're incredibly, they're like rats.
They're...
Like, you can't fuck with them.
Well, I'm going to be honest.
Not that I would.
I love rats. I had pet rats.
What?
Yeah. A few years ago, I had pet rats.
Okay, hang on. Whoa.
Sorry, different animal group.
Yeah, we're going to focus on that after I get through all the Shedd stuff, because I need to know about that.
Yes, but so, yes, I wouldn't say they're like rats, because rats are perfect, but they are like Wolverines. That's what I would say. Compare them to
the aquatic Wolverine.
Yes, and so they, if they want to, they're gonna bite you real hard, and you're gonna lose a finger. And
has that happened?
You know, I feel like I vaguely remember a story of a trainer, not at Shedd, but like a mutual trainer that I knew through people getting injured that way. Because the fish
there is that danger, isn't there? I mean, there's that danger
Definitely.
that you're dealing with still wild animals.
Definitely. It's true with any animal. It could be something as little as an otter or the giant belugas. You can definitely still get injured.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, one of the penguins at Shedd bit me one time.
Did it hurt, or was it kind of like a numbing?
It hurt, because
No?
it was the beak. I mean, it's like the beak got me.
Did he poke, or did he...
He, like, bit. He, like, opened his mouth and bit me.
What'd you do to him?
I literally just walked past him, and he wasn't happy.
He wasn't happy with that?
Yeah, I was invading his space, apparently. And so I take full responsibility. But he was not happy with me. And it left a little bit of a mark. It wasn't bleeding or anything, but it definitely left a big bruise.
Made you think.
Yes, it was. It was kind of like, maybe I should give that guy some space over there.
Yeah.
And now I feel like when I see penguins, I'm kind of like, all right, I'm going to go over here while you stay over there.
Have you gone to Australia?
I have not. I want to.
Have you heard about this?
What?
This thing I'm about to bring up?
What?
Okay. I thought you might have. That's why I phrased it like that. There's this place that you can go to in the morning, like at 4:30, 5:30 in the morning, and at night, right when the sun comes down. The Penguin March.
Oh, yeah. I think I've heard of this.
You heard about this?
I think so.
There's these decks built.
Yeah.
Like, they built these decks, and there is literally little burrows. And it looks like, honest to God, it looks like a morning commute and coming back home from the day.
Yeah.
Because the males all go out.
Yeah.
And they feed.
Yep.
And they all come back, and I'm guessing they regurgitate it for the kids and the wife, whatever.
Yes.
That's their business. But it's amazing because they come in on rafts. You think it's a raft, and it's just 17 of them together.
Yeah.
And then they start just walking there. And they all know exactly what
they know
their
where
burrow
they're
is.
going. And
It's amazing. It really is.
You got to see. It just came out a month or so ago. The Disney nature film Penguins.
Okay.
And it
We'll
shows like it's special. It like kind of spotlights one specific penguin, but it shows how they like build their nest, and they go back to that exact same nest every year, and the male and female will switch off getting the food for the baby, and it was so interesting.
I still remember that huge documentary, The March of the Penguins.
Yes,
in Antarctica.
I have it on DVD.
That was amazing. That
Yes,
was amazing.
Yes,
Like,
I
who would
remember
think
going to see, I had to have been in like 3rd grade when I first saw that.
Yeah,
and amazing.
God, you were in 3rd grade. I think I was in college. When I saw that.
I'm only 24.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, fuck you. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, so you got bit by a penguin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the only animal at Shedd that bit me.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. I mean,
is there that one trainer that's gotten bitten by everybody?
I don't think so, but there's definitely moments where like you might accidentally like get your hand like you didn't take your hand out fast enough once you like dropped a fish in for a dolphin, and they like accidentally close their mouth.
Yeah.
So they're not like biting you; they just like your hand happened to be there. Or the birds of prey, if you're like holding one of their pieces of food and they just like open their mouth a little too much. It's like a dog if you like were giving it a treat and it just was really excited and went for your whole hand instead of the treat. Just like that. So it's like little injuries. It's not anything where like someone lost their whole arm to a beluga whale or anything.
Hey, I remember a time they took us into this room that was like pitch black, and there were 2 portholes, or 3.
Yes.
We were in this little area, three portholes, and they said, pick up it was like a rattle or something.
Yeah.
It's like, pick up a rattle and shake it at this porthole. So I shook it. All of a sudden, this dolphin came right up and looking at me.
Yes.
And I thought that was cool. Is that where you guys did your like little note taking?
Some of them, yeah. So when you're doing observations, you want to do them from different areas. So sometimes we would go into that room and observe them. Sometimes we would go into like the public underwater viewing area. Sometimes we would be above water, things like that. So it just always kind of varied. But
I
yes,
could
I would
not
go
go into that room. I'd fall asleep.
Yeah.
It's so peaceful in there.
And you don't want to turn the lights on because that's
Right.
just going to like take away from the natural behaviors
That's
from the
interesting.
dolphins.
I didn't think there were lights.
There are lights.
Okay.
It's not nearly as fun though to turn the lights on because then it's just like a room with a bunch of pipes.
Yeah.
When the lights are off, you feel like you're underwater, and which I mean you are kind of.
Right.
But if you were to turn the lights on, they know you're in there, and they're gonna just swim over to you and be like, "Food, toys, you playing with me?"
Yeah.
But you want them to
you can
act
give them
natural.
food through there?
No, so
Oh,
they
okay.
just think like
They
there's
just
a
think.
person.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get some food.
So
from
they look
them.
at us as food distributors.
Pretty much.
I gotta do a couple of fucking flips and I get some food from these guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that I found shocking that's at the aquarium. The wetlands, the wetland area, Amazon area.
Yes.
Did you deal with any of that? The
So not
fucking
when I was
snakes
there.
and the-
No, I didn't. I only worked
They got
in
a
the
big
marine
boa
mammals.
constrictor there, don't they?
Yeah, they have crazy stuff there.
Yeah. Don't they have little monkeys about this big?
I think they do. Yes,
little
they do.
black
They
pygmy
do.
monkeys or something?
Yes, and so they have those. There's a porcupine.
They got a porcupine there?
They have a porcupine.
Is that recent?
No, he's been there. He's not always on exhibit though.
What's it called? Wetlands? What do they call that area? The rainforest at the shed? Let's
I
call
don't
it
even know what section he's in.
Forest Shed. Let's see if it's that.
Amazon Rising.
Amazon
Go with
Rising.
That one.
All right. And they don't tell us any animals?
Probably not.
Explore, learn, get wild. Animals the most diverse in the rainforest. Can you do that?
There's that little monkey.
Yeah,
That's him.
but yes, that's like a little pygmy guy, right?
Yeah, he's the little baby
But
monkey.
there's nothing there that shows the type of animals that are there. Oh. There we go. So Amazon Rising. Ride in a canoe. That's a new thing, isn't it?
That is a new thing.
Ride in a canoe. What is that? Oh, you have to be 4 or 5 years old.
Oh.
Okay, so it's for like little kids. All
I would
right.
do
Looks
it.
like Gwen's going to be doing it.
Yeah, I would do that.
You guys got ducks?
Yeah, there's ducks.
I love fucking ducks.
They're
I don't
so
know why.
cute.
I love ducks.
They're so cute. And those are, I don't
Oh, here
honestly,
we go. You have turtles, fruit-eating fish, and I don't. They're not giving all of it, but man,
it's the piranhas, tarantulas, stingrays, monkeys, anaconda.
Oh, I missed all that. I didn't see the stingrays. They have stingrays there?
They do have stingrays, yes.
Did you touch them? Did you mess with them?
They have in the summer. Shedd Aquarium has an outdoor stingray like touch area.
Any kid ever get stung?
No,
Okay, I wouldn't think so.
I don't.
Kids are so much. They're grabby. They don't get
so
it.
grabby.
Yeah.
I think most of the, if not all of the stingrays in the touch pool they don't have their barbs.
Okay. You can remove
so-
those barbs without.
You
hurting
can.
them. Okay.
And so I doubt very much that they would have little children walking
That's
in
true,
where they
yeah,
could get
yeah.
stabbed with them.
That's put that on another stupid question asked by Johnny. But go ahead.
But I mean, I have there are aquariums that have them with the barb still on them.
Yeah.
But so every summer, I think it's from like May to October or May to September, something like that, where you go outside and it's this big tent area and you just reach in and you get to pet some stingrays.
I know that. That's cool.
Yeah, it's really, really cool.
cool.
It is weather permitting, but it's really, really cool. They're weird animals.
Yeah.
Very weird
So
animals.
you didn't deal with any of that? You didn't deal with the tarantulas or the
No.
monkeys? Or don't they
Nope.
have an alligator there?
I feel like probably.
Yeah,
I don't
turtle.
honestly remember.
So
No,
that
I was
that
just
was
with-
no part of that.
Correct. I was
Really?
just in the marine mammals, if you will. So it's
Okay.
just the dolphins, whales.
Is that like
sea
your
lions.
specialty?
Yes.
Okay, so that's
Yes.
like you went to school for marine mammals.
Kind of. I did my internships with marine mammals purposely. So, going to University of Illinois in Champaign, not a lot of dolphins there or
Really?
marine mammals.
There's no dolphins in the middle of Illinois?
No,
Okay.
unfortunately, in the middle of the farms, there's more cows. And so I did a lot of farm work in college. And then a lot of times when you go to Illinois, you go on to do either working with farm animals or just domestic animals, cats, dogs, pets, whatever. And so I was a little abnormal for my major by working my internships with
Were they
exotic animals.
I think you're a little too far inland.
I actually had my supervisor, counselor, or whatever you want to call him, tell me that I was at the wrong school and that I should rethink my path. And I was like, I don't think that's what you're supposed to tell me.
No, well,
And
much,
yes,
sir.
I know. I was very upset by that guy. He genuinely told me that I should not try and be a dolphin trainer. And
Wow.
I walked out of that meeting.
Fuck you, professor.
Yes. I walked out of that meeting, called my mom, and I was like, I want to be a dolphin trainer even more now because
Well, there
I'm
you
going
go.
to prove
That's
him
good.
wrong.
That's good. Yeah.
And
As long as you had that attitude.
Yes.
You're like, you know what? I'm gonna
I was
show
so
them.
shocked that someone would say that to a student whose dream it is to be a dolphin trainer.
Dream crusher.
Honestly.
Jerk. Okay. So we're out of the Shedd Aquarium now. And I'm going to have to get into more of a sober part of this. Because
Yes.
I know there's going to be some people that are listening to this that are going to like, why am I not asking this question?
Mm-hmm.
For those of you that want me to press further and shit like that, it's not your podcast. I'm going to ask what I want to ask. Blackfish.
Yes.
Let's talk about the how you feel. Now, here's where I'm coming from with Blackfish. I'm not here to debate you about Blackfish. I have my own thoughts and feelings. And my point of my podcast is not to get you to sit down and listen to my thoughts and feelings. I want to know about your thoughts and feelings. So with Blackfish, again, you had nothing to do with it. You weren't there. So I'm not... If any of these, my questions aren't going to be, why didn't, it's not going to be to you. It's just questions I'm curious about.
Yeah.
Okay. My first question really for Blackfish is, what do you think of it?
Blackfish is a one-sided documentary.
Okay.
And not that a lot of documentaries tend to be two-sided. A lot of documentaries do try to focus on one side where they want to advocate for something. Unfortunately, Blackfish, in my opinion, is advocating for the wrong thing. They are anti-SeaWorld, and they talk about lots of claims or misinformation about SeaWorld that are not true. And
They're not true.
No.
Okay. Can you give me maybe one, or like, what's not true that they said was true?
One of the things, a very popular picture that they showed in the movie, and it's all online a lot of times, is one of the orcas or the killer whales in this tiny pool. Okay. And they say, this animal is in this bathtub. And granted, it is a very small pool. However, they make it seem in the film that that's their permanent space. It's not. That's called a medical pool.
Okay.
And it's where animals go to have their checkups, so that it's kind of like a doctor's table. And so when you go to the doctor's office, you sit on the doctor's table and they do their whole examination. At SeaWorld or other aquariums, they come into the medical pool and they have the examination.
Okay.
And so it's false advertising, in my opinion, to say, look at this cruel pool that they put this orca in, when they're in there for maybe 20 minutes.
Okay.
They're not in there for
So
long
they're not
periods
in
of
there
time.
for overnight or anything of that nature.
No.
Okay.
Not unless they're like sick for some reason or injured or something. But even then, they'd probably give them a little more space just because it is a longer period of time. Okay. The medical pools that are tiny are simply for just examinations and like blood draws. Any kind of like fecal tests, things like that. So that's one thing. That's probably one of my biggest frustrations with Blackfish, is that they show pictures but don't give the whole story.
Okay.
And they...
Do you remember one specifically where they're not giving I mean, you just gave me one with the small pool to make it look like that's where they hang out the entire time. Which, if you were looking at that without any type of understanding or background, yeah, you get pissed and think, what the fuck? Like, like that would be the equivalent of me sitting in the studio the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, you can understand where people would get mad at that. Yeah. But, again, no one's telling them the other side.
Exactly. I'm going to be honest, when Blackfish first came out, I think it was like 2013.
Yeah.
I watched it and I agreed with them. I was like, screw SeaWorld. They are awful, blah, blah, blah. But then once you get into the field and you learn more about it, you realize this documentary has it all wrong. They are not giving the right picture.
So the John Hargrove...
Yeah.
Is like I just watched a CBS has this series called Whistleblower. Did you see that yet?
I will not watch it.
You won't watch it. Okay.
I mean, not the whistleblower, but his specific
one because it just angers you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't want to give him the attention that he wants.
Is he what's the word I'm looking for? A disgruntled employee?
Yeah, I would say so.
You would say so?
Yeah, so he was a former SeaWorld trainer.
Right.
Who has apparently dedicated the rest of his life to getting people to not like SeaWorld. And he, similar to Blackfish, will use these claims and, like, rage tactics that, like, get people really worked up without explaining the rest of the story. And...
Really?
Yeah, and I don't really know why. Obviously, I don't know him. I don't know what he has
I'm not, again,
going on.
Again, this isn't you're not from SeaWorld. No. I don't expect you to have all these answers. I just want to know your thoughts.
Yeah, I don't like him.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. There's not a lot of people in the world that I like genuinely do not like. He's one of them.
He's one of them.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So would you say is okay, if you could do Brightfish, what would you do? Like, how would you turn it back at them and say, look, it's not that bad? Like, okay, tell me this. Why do you feel SeaWorld's important?
One of the biggest things about SeaWorld is their rescue and rehabilitation program. They have rescued over 35,000 animals.
35,000. What other? You keep saying animals, because I've noticed with these documentaries, Blackfish, it's mainly the orcas they're talking about.
People are obsessed with orcas.
Yeah.
Because they're big. I mean, they do require a lot of space and a lot of care.
Right.
And so people focus on orcas a lot.
Right.
When I say animals, though, like 35,000 animals, it can range from orcas, dolphins, belugas to little fish. It can be anything.
Okay.
Turtles, a lot of times. It's a lot of sea turtles.
Dude, there's some horrible things right now with sea turtles and straws.
Yeah.
And
don't use straws.
I think I watched a Instagram video where they were putting some sort of pump down a bird's throat, and when they pulled it out, he threw up all of this plastic.
Yeah, it's
I couldn't
awful.
believe it. I
It's
was
awful.
shocked. I was like, oh my god, that bird ate all of that.
Yeah.
And then there's this one where this I'm sure you've seen it, right? On Instagram, where that turtle, they have to get that turtle down, they have to pull that straw with his nose.
It's awful.
Oh.
Yeah, I swore off straws when
What's
saw
funny
that.
is my dad is he was notorious. Anytime we were at a restaurant, somebody would come up to him, and he's done this as long as I've known him. They would ask him for a straw, and my dad being my dad, you'd have to understand my dad. My dad being my dad would say, straws are for girls. You don't need straws, right? So his whole thing was, you don't need straws.
Yeah.
So he kind of trained me to never really have a straw.
You don't need them.
Yeah, you really don't.
Them.
But I think a lot of people use them because they're not so sure that glass is clean.
I get that. I've heard that argument a lot.
I get that, but at the end of the day, it's you still be sucking it up through a straw.
Yeah, it's still touching the glass.
Yeah, it's still touching the glass.
There is one side of the straw argument that I definitely can agree with, that people with disabilities have to use straws a lot, like if they can't lift a glass. So I totally get that, and I'm in full support of that. But someone like you and me, we don't need straws.
Yeah,
we
I agree.
can get by without them. And if you really want a straw to suck up your drink, I use my reusable
sell,
plastic ones. I use the silicone. I use metal. I have tons of different reusable straws, so I don't have to use the single-use plastics.
Right.
Yeah, so it's possible. People are just lazy.
People are really lazy.
Yeah.
But okay, sorry, I went off on the straw tangent. But we were talking about
Blackfish.
But you were most light fish. This is your documentary on 36. You said 36 what?
35,000 animals.
35,000 animals. Yes. Is that yearly? That's
total since they opened.
Okay.
And so I would focus more on that, and then obviously people are going to want to hear, how are the orcas kept? What is their care? I want people to see the daily physical examinations that they get, literally daily, every single day. They are checked their full body. Is there even a scratch on this animal? Then they record it. Yeah. And they keep track of it every single day. Make sure, is it still the same? Is it healing? Is it getting worse? What's going on with this tiny little scratch?
Right.
And so I want people to be able to see that and see that the time and care that people put into caring for these animals, no, they're not just left there in a tank to float around and do nothing.
But that wasn't SeaWorld. Wasn't that Marineland in Canada?
That's a bit of a different story.
Right, yeah. They were bad, right? In fact,
back in the day,
a law was just passed, wasn't it?
Yeah, so in Canada, they actually just passed a law pretty much in short terms banning like whales and dolphins from being in captivity.
Yeah. How do you feel about that?
I do not support it.
You don't support it?
No. Pretty much just like I was just saying, that these animals get such astounding care but people don't see that. They see there's glass and the animals behind it. Right. But if they were able to go behind the scenes and see the hours and hours of time that people spend, and tons of people spend, it's huge teams of people for just a few animals that they spend working with these animals. And I'm going to be honest, for not much pay, it's a very low paying field. And then they would realize how much we care about them.
Okay.
And that we're not doing this for some kind of selfish need. I don't really know why someone would want to work a $10 an hour job. Or just
really,
being
that's it?
Starting.
$10 an hour starting.
Starting, yeah.
Is that minimum wage now?
I think it is.
$10? I thought
it's
13's like, minimum wage.
They're like working their way up in Chicago. So I feel like right now it's around 10.
So that's it, huh?
It's not a high paying field at all. So it's definitely
you're there
something
for the love of
it.
You're
there for the love and the care of the animals. You don't do it for some kind of notoriety or anything like that. There's no opportunity for that. It's simply so you go in early every day and leave late every day just to care for these animals.
But I would think, just talking to you, that doesn't matter to you.
No.
Like, it's just like, you don't walk away. You may walk away physically exhausted, maybe a little mentally exhausted, but it's not like sitting in a cubicle, pounding your head, looking at YouTube videos. Hopefully some of you guys are watching the John Angel podcast on YouTube. But anyway,
I could never have a sit-down job.
Yeah,
in
I
a
can't
cubicle.
either. I
could never do it.
I've been too long out in the field.
Yeah. I need to be on my feet and working, and especially with living creatures, with animals. And so I could never, especially after experiencing what it's like to be in this field, I could never transition away from it.
Right.
It's just not something I'm going to be able to do ever.
Yeah, I think that's how we're supposed to be.
I think so. People are meant to be active and moving, and I feel like people need to be connected with wildlife and connected with the natural world.
Well, I think we took ourselves out of that. I think originally that was our job. We were hunter-gatherers, right? I mean, if we didn't go out there and get food, we didn't eat that day.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? Now, I think literally, maybe on my phone, I could dial up, and I think within half hour at the most, we get some sort of fast food down here.
Easily.
Right? Yeah.
Easily.
You know, so they've taken that aspect of our life out. They take like, technology's awesome. It's great.
But there's definitely the negatives.
Yeah, absolutely.
It definitely has taken us away from just the natural world, and even just like being outside in general. Like, kids don't play outside anymore. That's a
No,
whole
you're
different
right.
argument.
You're
But
right.
like, I know when I was growing up, we went to the zoo once a week, if not more, and we would see these animals and see, like, here's what the world has to offer, and here's what's amazing about the world. And
So speaking of the world, where do you want to go? Where do you want to, like, where else would you rather intern or maybe get a job?
I would love to get a job at Shedd Aquarium.
Shedd Aquarium?
Yes, Shedd Aquarium.
You're a Chicago girl?
Yes, if Shedd Aquarium is listening, I would love to work there. I'll do it for free. But it's just the greatest place on earth. It really is.
It's your Disneyland?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I will spend hours there just staring at the animals.
I have a great time every time I go.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I will admit, I get hungry every time I look at the lobster exhibit.
I don't like lobster, so I don't get
bugs,
hungry.
Man. I don't, like, they're bugs. I don't feel sorry for them. Like, there's certain fish I feel sorry for, like, you know, but like a dolphin, you know, an orca, a beluga whale, those aren't fish. Those are actual mammals.
Yeah.
But, like, if you care about your young, then, like, I'm cool with it.
That it's a mammal bond.
But there's this one video where these crabs are eating, this mother crab is eating its babies. Like, thousands of these little babies are crawling around and the mom is just doing this. And I'm thinking, you know what? You're going to get in a pot. You're going to get put in a pot. And I'm going to enjoy you.
Some animals are weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's definitely, you definitely have more of a relationship with, like, certain animals over others. Others, you just kind of look at them and you're like, okay, that's cool. But I could sit there staring at the beluga whales at the Shedd for actually hours.
You ever see that video, the beluga versus the little boy?
No, which one?
You haven't seen that? All right, we're going to have to show you this one.
Okay.
Beluga versus boy. There it is. You ever see these ones?
Oh, where the beluga, like, scares it?
Yeah, I think it's this little girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's the one where the beluga kept, like, scared, like, going at the
he's
glass.
like doing this, and little kids are going, ah!
Yes.
It was really cute. It was really funny.
The belugas at Shedd, sometimes you'd be down in the underwater viewing area, and they'll kind of sneak up on you because you can't really see, like, all the way to the sides.
Yeah, I think this is it right here. Watch this. Sorry to cut you off, but this is a cool part. Look this up, everybody. This is Beluga Whale CT Belugas TR3 Kids on YouTube.
Hey, Mikey, come here. Oh, he's gonna do it again.
What's he doing?
He's just turning around.
That's it? I thought he scares them.
He's going to.
Where is it? I don't think he does. Is that hear that? Is that them talking?
I think that's one of the children.
No, well, it's not. It's not the video I thought it was.
Oh, there.
It is. You're right. You just want to smile every time you see them.
No, they're
You're
so
right.
funny.
Here it is. I think this is the part. Yeah, that's the part. Yeah, it's awesome, you guys. Yeah. Now he's fucking with them, right? He's like,
Yes.
he knows he's messing with them. Oh yeah, you can totally tell.
He's getting a response from them, so he knows.
So he keeps doing it.
Yes.
See, that's just a little puppy, man. You guys gotta check this out. I'm sorry I can't show it on YouTube. I get in trouble for it. I get shut off. So that's cool. Very cool. So
So funny.
So what's the future hold for you?
Well, my goal is to be a marine mammal trainer. Currently, I'm a dog trainer, but dogs are boring, and I want
say
to.
that.
I mean, I love them and everything,
Dogs are
but
amazing.
they're great, but they're not.
But
dolphins
I'm
and
sure
whales.
it's nothing like a dolphin or a
No,
whale.
not at all.
You have to
And
almost earn that, right? That's a little harder to work.
Definitely, you have to. I mean, these internships that myself and my coworkers have had, they're all unpaid and full-time jobs, just unpaid, and so it is a bit of an effort to get through years of doing internships without actually making any money. Sometimes you have to work a full-time job and have a second job, and it's very difficult mentally and physically, but it's it is just the most rewarding thing.
Yeah.
And frankly, I think my biggest goal is just to educate the public. I want people to know about these animals and know that we should help them. And that's where if I had to say where am I going to be in 20 years, I'm standing up there with some of these animals and I'm telling people about them.
Yeah.
There's a quote from David Attenborough that says that no one will protect what they don't care about, and no one will care about what they have not experienced.
Oh, I like that.
And
That's
so,
a good quote.
yes, and so without zoos and aquariums, people can't experience things like this, and they can't see, wow, these animals are amazing. We need to protect them, and we need to do things like the seafood watch and make sure we're getting sustainable fish and things like that. We need to help different organizations that help rescue animals like SeaWorld or other aquariums. And so my goal is to be a trainer, but also help educate the world.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I definitely want somebody like you waving the flag for this. Someone that's absolutely... you can tell you get great joy out of it. And I think that matters. And I think the animals can pick that up.
Definitely.
I think they can pick up who's there for...
Oh, they can.
You know, and I think that's important. And you've opened my eyes to a little bit of, in terms of how these areas are important.
Yes.
In some instances, I don't believe they are. But, you know, the reason I wanted to talk to you is because I wanted to see a point of view that... It's very easy for me to look at a documentary and go, well, that's it.
Yep.
Fuck SeaWorld,
Yep.
fuck Shedd. No, it's not happening anymore.
Yeah.
Without actually, like you said, understanding the other side of the story.
Exactly.
And maybe that these are disgruntled people. And these, I mean, I have my own views on beluga, not beluga, I have my own views on orcas and things like that. But I've never gone to SeaWorld to check it out. Not that I'm boycotting it.
Yeah.
Just never had the opportunity. But I think it's really, I think if there were a lot of people like you, and it sounds like there are,
A good amount, yeah.
We just don't hear from them.
Yeah.
But I think I'm glad you came here. I'm glad we talked about it. I think what you do is cool.
Thank you.
I know you train and you have to study for it. I just want to play with them.
I know.
I just want to put on a wetsuit and dive in there and
I know.
play with them and hold on. And
Everyone does.
honestly, I just want to cuddle with one and, stupid stuff that will never happen. But, hey, I touched an otter's hand.
I mean, if there's one thing that I want people
Shit,
to...
I touched him.
I know. He's like the only one out of all the all the people. But if there's one thing that I want the public to do so that they can... If they're watching these documentaries and saying, like, I don't like these places, but they want to learn the other side, I strongly urge people, go to these aquariums and SeaWorld and zoos and anything. Do behind-the-scenes things like you did the trainer for a day and work hands-on with these animals and see the care that they're getting. People don't get to do that. Obviously, that's a kind of exclusive experience for people. But if people went to these places and actually experienced it for themselves, then they would see how much it matters and see that it matters that they care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's a perfect place to end it.
Yeah.
I think, thank you very much for coming here.
Of course.
Shedd Aquarium, hire her.
Yeah.
Why not, right?
Anywhere
She's
hire
Johnny
me.
Angel podcast approved. So, I think that's it. I think
Awesome.
we're good. So, Kylie Johnson. Kylie Johnson.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I let me let the folks know. I have a family member named Kaylee. So they're spelled exactly the same. So that's why I get confused. Kylie Johnson. Thank you very much for coming here. I appreciate it.
Of course.
That's it.
Yeah.
So everybody take care. Thank you very much. Let's see if I can get out of here without screwing up anything. We are done. See you guys
Awesome.
later. Take care.